Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another In Conversation webinars. My name is Paul North from the UK-ASEAN Business Council, and I'm joined here by our events manager, Veronica, who's been behind organising today's event. Today we have a special guest in Phil Walker, the export manager with Christie's International, who will give us an insight into how they've had and been successful in exporting food and drink into Southeast Asia. Just to let you know that you can send in at any time questions through the question box in the lower right hand corner of the webinar dashboard, and we will endeavour to answer those either during the presentation or after a Q&A session. If not, we will definitely get back to you all regarding questions that you may have. So the recording will be available to you after the webinar, along with the slides that we will be showing today. But just to start by saying that we at UK-ASEAN Business Council help companies of all sizes build new contacts, provide market insights, and raise the awareness of the vast commercial opportunities in what is the fastest growing region in the world, in these 10 dynamic and very culturally different ASEAN markets. We also bring ASEAN to the UK through a sustained calendar of events, so watch this space, and I do encourage you all to visit our website, ukabc.org.uk, where there's a huge amount of information on doing business in ASEAN, along with all our forthcoming events program, not just here in the UK, but also what is happening in ASEAN. So without further ado, good morning, Phil, and welcome.
Good morning, Paul. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to join you and the guys today to discuss ASEAN and hopefully share some benefits and some downsides, but possibly to exporting to the region. Share our experiences, rather.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what it's all about, Chris. You know, putting over to other potential exporters out there who are looking to ASEAN as a potential new market or expanding their activities in that marketplace. And we've known each other for I think 2 or 3 years now, being involved with you with ASEAN. Yep. But just tell us a bit about yourself, your company, Christie's, and what they do.
Certainly, thanks, Paul. Well, I've been exporting since 2006. Initially with OTC remedies, luxury furniture, even, and before joining Christie, I was working with some topical analgesics. So I've got a broad, I like to think, a broad experience, both within different categories, but also with different markets across the world. So just take a short moment just to explain who we are, Paul. Thank you. So as you see the slide there showing, describing who we are, what we do. We work with several UK FMCG manufacturers where we can offer their products to high quality products to importers, distributors, and retailers around the world. There's the sort of the core range of the brands we represent. We work primarily with SME businesses. The DIT description being upwards of 20 million. So they are very strong, recognisable UK brands that we partner with to export on their behalf. Next slide as well. The business is a very simple business. We have what we call 5 key pillars. So working with the brand owners, our aim is to remove the complexity of exporting. So we take on all the burden of the UK manufacturer, treating us like a UK account, and we manage their business for them. Facing the importers and retailers, we can provide them with new brands, new opportunities from the UK, where they can quickly expand their ranges, perhaps, and maximise opportunities. We're able to provide logistics for our brand owners and for our importers, so we can manage the entire shipping process from even the factory gate to port of destination, or even deliver duty paid to the distributor. We're able to carry out some product adjustment as well for our partners if the product needs a little bit of ink jetting for dating or translation labels. we can do all that before the product's exported. And finally, as a slight aside, we're also heavily involved in private label development with a number of our retail clients around the world. So there's, as I say, 5 key pillars of the business as to how we operate. Globally, our reach is, as you see from the map, top left-hand corner, Canada, all the way around, as you see, through Latin America, markets in Africa, north, west, east, south, Middle East, a little bit into Europe, and then out into Southeast Asia and beyond into Australasia. Next slide, please, Paul. More specifically for today, this is where we currently are within the ASEAN region. The green boxes indicate markets that we are actively working in with either an importer or a retailer. The amber markets of Indonesia, Cambodia and Myanmar, we're slightly one step back from that. So we're in talks with either direct to retail or with importers. And the other 2 markets of Laos and Brunei, well, we're not quite there yet with any contacts, but that's where UK-ABC comes in to assist us with those contacts. And I've just referenced a few of the retailers there that we're working with. And there, if you wish to contact me afterwards, then we can certainly talk to people afterwards. They're my contact details, Paul. So thank you very much for the plug.
Oh, you're more than welcome, Phil. And I've just gone back to the ASEAN slide there that you put up because you know, it's interesting. There are those 10 dynamic countries in ASEAN, all culturally, economically, and politically different. And you know, you're on the way to being, I think, quite successful in most of those, at least the top 8. And I just sort of wondering, from your perspective, what made ASEAN so attractive for you as an exporting region?
Well, I joined the company in 2015, and we did already. Yes, sorry. Well, when I joined the company in 2015, Paul, and we had a little bit of business going into the region anyway, into Malaysia and Thailand. So I can't claim credit for starting that business, but as the time progressed and I was looking into the region as a whole, the profile of the region has been raised by yourselves, DIT, HM government in general. It became an appealing region to sort of supplement the business we were having elsewhere. For example, a lot of focus has been on the Middle East in the past, for obvious reasons, but the timing seemed right to look further east and to the ASEAN region. I think it was probably a combination of the raised profile, easier access possibly as well. Some markets don't require product adjustment, relatively straightforward in that respect. Slightly less registration required as well in some markets too. So I think it was and at the time the exchange rates were quite good because I said I wouldn't mention the word, didn't I? But post-referendum, there was some readjustment with exchange rates, so that became I avoided it. That helped as well, and there were blank spaces. There were markets there that we weren't operating in, so we felt we had the product mix and the positioning of the product that should be an opportunity. So that's the reason why really we've approached the region as we have. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned there at the beginning a couple of organisations, including ourselves, and I'm sure we haven't asked Phil to mention us, but you also mentioned Department of International Trade. But just out of interest, I mean, there is a lot of help out there for companies who are looking to export into ASEAN. And just wondering what further help and assistance that you sought both here in the UK and in market, really to make that journey into ASEAN easier for you.
Certainly, because I'm old enough to remember UKTI as well and OMIS reports. So when I first started in 2006, but it's moved on a fair step since then. What I was impressed with the connection between yourselves and the DRT, but also the local delivery partners being the local chambers of commerce. The various road shows that have been organised into when the meet the market, meet the experts come to the UK. That's been very useful over the last, as you say, we've known each other for a couple of years, and I've attended a number of those from the markets, as you say. Chris from the Philippines, I think, and Greg from Thailand, and Peter from Myanmar. There's a wealth of knowledge and experience within those guys as well, which we've been able to tap into and build a relationship with. So that's been very useful indeed.
Yeah, the chambers of commerce are there also, to help companies with getting into market, and one of their key roles and what they are very, very good at is partner identification. So they are a great source of in the local market of marketing requirements, and also getting people hooked up with potential
I totally agree.
who are really interested in doing business.
Yes, and as well, which is a part of the service. There's the other way around of doing it. If you can, I myself would perhaps identify a number of potential customers, importers, retailers, and there can be an element of due diligence required. Well, then the degrees are able to assist you with that as well. I was recently told a story when they were literally able to go and check an address for a potential customer or potential importer because it was around the corner in theory from their office, and it didn't exist. So you can have that real time on the ground support from the local chamber. We've actually joined a couple of the local chambers as well as members to sort of assist with that. Very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
As well, so that helped. I think we signed up with the Philippines chamber, and we have but aside from that, I try to maintain a close relationship with all the chambers in terms of information and emails and references and that kind of thing.
Of course, brilliant. And also, I know that you've attended quite a few exhibitions and fairs there. I know in June you were there in Malaysia at the International Food and Beverage Fair, and
yes,
which the British Chamber there was organising, and you were part of the UK pavilion. And how important are these exhibitions to you, and what did that one in Malaysia particularly bring to you?
Yes, it's great point to raise, Paul. Thank you. Obviously, exhibitions and trade shows are important anyway, and we know that. But it's what you, in my experience, it's how you get there and what you do when you're there, and it's trying to get that added value of justifying as well being there, getting on the plane and the hotel fee and charges and just walking the floor and having a look round. You need to have something a bit more to support your attendance. But the way that the British Chamber in Malaysia set that up was fantastic, actually. They set up the UK pavilion. They rented the space and then sort of sub-rented out 3 or 4 booths on the pavilion we were able to secure one of the booths. The benefit there as well, because we have an established local distributor, so we were able to partner with them, share with the cost as well. So there's an added benefit to that. We were able to present the brands in the market. I was able to meet the retail customers who were currently buying our products. I was able to meet with new retailers who we wish to buy our products. I was able to build on our relationship with our distributor. Obviously, I was able to see the market, do some store visits, see our products in the various upscale stores around KL. But as it was an international event as well, there were a number of, I think I've got 25, 30 leads from other potential importers from other markets within the region. Even outside of the region, there was 2 companies from Yemen attended, a couple of companies from Saudi as well. So you should always keep an open mind, but I wasn't necessarily expecting to meet anybody from Yemen at a trade show in Malaysia. But still, there you go. That's that's the exciting bit of exporting, isn't it? So, but I think to bring you back to the point you first made, Paul, I think without the support of the chamber, the cost would have been quite a challenging internal sell, shall we say? But with partnering up with the chamber under the banner of UK Pavilion, you know, the pictures that came out on your newsletter recently, the stand looked great. It was all the food is great. It was all branded and logoed. His Excellency, the High Commissioner, came along on the Friday to visit us. He was at a meeting nearby, and the chamber arranged for him to call by the stand on the Friday. Made a big fuss. There was press were there and everything. So it was it was a great experience, and one to be repeated, hopefully.
No, absolutely. I think it's a great source of leads as well, and particularly when you've got an organisation there that's pulling everything together for you, and you're turning up on the day with your wares.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
It was great. Well, we had to do a little bit more than that, Paul, but yes, it was nice that Samantha and the team in the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce they were fantastic. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, you touched.
So we're looking to do. Sorry, I was just going to say, they're moving on from that. There's a similar event perhaps taking place in Singapore next year, where the chamber there are looking to replicate the model. So I've penciled us in for that one already.
No, there are a couple of trade missions going out there in the new year, and particularly on the Singapore one. So yeah, we've got those all up on our website. Okay. Should the companies wish to hook into those trade missions and take advantage of the really good rates and support that's available. So
I'd recommend.
I mean, that leads us in really, because you did touch on it that you know that this region does need a lot of regular visiting. You know, you're not going to get an order from a potential distributor after 1 or 2 visits. It's about gaining that trust with potential clients and distributors. And sometimes I think the cost factor of that and the budgeting is sometimes overlooked by companies. And I just wonder from your side what you needed to factor in as regard to your marketing costs there. And another thing is you know, was that easily justified to your management? I hear, you know, a lot of financial controllers saying to export managers, well, you've been out there twice and we haven't got an order. What's happening?
Yeah, it's a very interesting point you raised, Paul. And as you say, it's that kind of okay. It sounds a cliche, doesn't it? Speculate to accumulate, but you still need to be prudent and careful, don't you? We work on some sort of we have we don't have an infinite budget. Obviously, we have to be very careful with how we where we invest our time and money. And this seemed a great opportunity for a number of reasons. As I mentioned, we were under the banner of the British Chamber, the UK Pavilion. So there was a lot of kudos there. I'm not saying that we wouldn't have had the same if we were, with under our own name, but it just adds that extra sort of prestige, probably, to a certain degree. We were the only European pavilion there, and obviously, when it comes down to the cost, the fact that we were able to take a share of the overall pavilion made the cost very reasonable. Obviously, I was then our distributor was happy to share that cost amongst us again, because they were very keen to attend the event. They'd not attended the event before, so it was a benefit to them. So there was a sell there to them, and then the opportunity to not only build a relationship with them, but build a relationship with our existing customers, and then find potential new international business within the region. It was then presented to management and say, this is what a great opportunity, And you're right, Paul. Up to this point, we hadn't really visited the region before, not for a while anyway. So it almost came together, almost like, I don't know, like a perfect storm, in terms of the right opportunity, the right show, the right conditions in terms of various boxes, the various objectives to meet, and then by the time I think there was the trade shows sometimes offer, there's a link with airlines where you can they offer a discount if you book on the certain airline. The hotel was very reasonable. I think it was £70 a night, bed and breakfast in the Ibis, which was 10-15 minutes away by Uber. Now you can stay right next to the convention centre, but then you pay more. So for me, that was, I wasn't doing it on a shoestring, but you need to be mindful of those costs as well. And I think it was all told, I think it was very reasonable in terms of the outlay to attend the show, to physically get there and back, as opposed to the benefits that we're going to get.
Of course.
So I take your point, but yes, you do need to balance it off, but you will have to have an element of expenditure. But I think in this day and age, with, I don't know, cheaper flights, more reasonable, accessible accommodation locally, then I think there's always the opportunity to find the right package for your budget.
Brilliant. Of course there is. And at the exhibition, how did the British brand go down with everybody?
Very, very well. I would say that, wouldn't I? But yes, we were. Yes, I mean, obviously, there's a historical connection between ourselves and Malaysia, which is still strong and still well recognised. And my experience previously in other markets, but now certainly in this region, is people like British products and they like dealing with British companies. And I think that's for me, that's been my experience. Perhaps I've been lucky, I don't know, but since I've been exporting since 2006, to all the markets I've been to, there's always been a pretty warm welcome as being a Brit from a British company.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, yeah, the population in that part of the world is over 630 million, and it's produced this huge consumer base. I mean, the average age there is about 26, of course, and these people are wanting the best of what's out there now. They've got that liquid finances to be able to support that. So we're finding that British,
absolutely,
and they want it.
And I think, as you see, although obviously across the 10 markets, some are in different positions than others. But again, from my experience thus far, from the 8 that I've highlighted as in either green or amber, there is an interest stroke demand for British products, whether it be food and drink specifically, or some of the non-food brands we represent. But certainly, yes, there's a there's a hunger for good quality products.
Yes.
And that's, yes, we have a great reputation for providing such products. I'm not saying that other markets don't, obviously, or other manufacturing countries, but the British, brand GB is very strong.
Absolutely. And I mean, everything's sounding good and rosy at the moment, Phil, but there are challenges and some in such a diverse market that I know faced you, both good and bad. Could you share those experiences with us?
Oh, you mean on the culinary front, Paul? Yes.
Well,
yeah,
business-wise rather than personal, but
okay.
yeah, I just wondered,
yes,
what things you faced and
yes, there are some challenges. You're right, Paul. I mean, for example, well, within the region that we're looking at, and I'm just looking at now. I mean, Myanmar got some great interest in some of the brands we represent, but there's there might be a 6-month registration process or something like that. So that's something that we're looking to work through now. Indonesia, fantastic market, 200 million people, very diverse, some very good retailers. I've met a very good importer. We've had a couple. We met at Gulf Food. We've stayed in touch. However, the governments are looking to impose some very strict halal regulations, yes, which are still ongoing at the moment in terms of how strict they're going to be. So for us at the moment, discussions are on hold until it's established how it's going to pan out. At the moment, well, last I heard from the British Chamber was that they're talking about having separate warehousing for halal and non-halal, separate logistics for halal and non-halal, separate shelving. So that's going to be quite a thing to try and work through at the moment. So it's little things like that, Paul, where you get a great step forward, you meet a great importer, you get on well, they're interested in the brands. Yes, we're interested in X, Y, and Z. Let's go to the next step. Okay, now we've got this issue. So it's, those are the challenges that face you. I'd like to think the challenges that really we have to try and work with, because I'd like to think if we have a challenge that I can affect or change, then we can get on and do that, together with the importer or the retailer. But if it's something that's regulatory or government driven, then we just have to take a pause on that, perhaps, and see how we progress. And on the personal front, try not to eat in a restaurant where rats are running around freely, because then you become ill.
Well, my next question was going to ask you what your top 5 tips are, so we'll knock that one off, and let us know, Phil, yes, what your top 4 tops would be for advising other exporting companies wanting to pursue the opportunities in ASEAN.
Okay, well, look, I think these are probably I've sort of probably gone back over my years as well, and these are probably fairly straightforward. And if I'm repeating things that people already thought, then apologies. But these are the 5 that I sort of try and sort of keep front of mind. First of all, perseverance, as we mentioned. I think Singapore. I've just got their first order. It's only taken 12 months. So of contact and developments and what have you. So perseverance, definitely. Patience is another one. You know, I'd love to. You obviously love to have an opening order within 2 weeks, but invariably isn't going to happen. So, you know, patience is a key as well. Flexibility. I'd like to think that, of course, you know, every market's different. Within that region, you've got, as you say, you've got 10 very diverse markets. So you have to reflect on that. Also, the flexibility in terms of how you get to market. You know, whether you work with an importer, direct to retail, whether you have the product sent as a finished product. For example, Vietnam, we're working with the guys there. They're repacking locally to put the products into a nice presentation tin, ready for a festival that's coming up, which is something that we don't normally do with other markets. But it's just flexibility again, I guess, to be able to secure the business. Cultural awareness obviously is incredibly important. I know it's something that you guys at the ABC are very keen on as well, as in DIT in general. You know, and finally, as I said, I mentioned this before, just having the confidence in your products and your company and yourself that yes, this is a great product, and there's an opportunity for us. Let's go and find it. And maybe the sixth one is keep smiling, because again, from my experience, just my experience, I've had a heck of a lot of fun exporting since 2006. It makes a change. It's so much more fun than going to meat buyers at Tesco.
Absolutely. I mean, you probably get a better price for your product in Tesco's. And there are other supermarkets out there, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, no, look, would I change anything? No, I wouldn't. I've had a great time exporting. It's hard work, but boy, is it fun.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks for that, Phil. So, Phil, I think we're about there, really. We've done 30 minutes of, and I just wanted to thank you very much for your time. Yeah, time flies.
Brilliant, thank you. No, it's great.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, and taking time out of your busy schedule to support us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for sharing your experiences of ASEAN, and that's obviously a key market for you now, and you're still pushing and developing. Yeah. So that's more or less the end of our webinar. So once again, Phil, thank you very much, and thank you very much for all of you listening. I hope that's been useful to you. Okay, take care, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks all. Bye-bye. Hello?